Good morning, students. Welcome to Bindu Dadwal Chemistry Lessons. Our topic for today is electrochemical principles of metallurgy. The thermodynamic principles can also be applied for the reduction of metal ions in solution or molten state. For that, the reduction of molten metal salt is done by electrolysis, and the free energy change for the reaction is minus NF-E0, where N is the number of electrons taking part in the redox reaction and F is the Faraday of electricity equal to 96500 coulombs. E0 is the standard electrode potential of the cell. More reactive metals have larger negative values of electrode potential and therefore their reduction is difficult. But if the electrode potential values of two reactions of a redox system, they are subtracted to form a net positive E0 value, and as a result a negative free energy change value. In that case, the lesser reactive metal will come out of the solution, whereas the more reactive metal will go into the solution and reaction will be carried out. So in this particular example, 0.34 minus 0.44 comes out to be positive plus 7-8 volts. So the reaction will be carried out. Iron will go into the solution and less reactive metal will come out of the solution. Iron will give electrons to copper ions, and copper metal will be formed. So the value of N comes from this equation. N electrons participate to form metal solid. So this N comes over here. Delta G0 is equal to minus NF-E0. The process of extraction of metals by electrolysis of their fused salts, that is molten salts, is called electrometallurgy. Extraction of non-metallic elements is done by oxidation. So for example, chloride ion will be oxidized to form chlorine gas. The free energy change for this reaction is 422 kilojoules. So we can carry out the required potential difference from this equation. So putting the value of delta G0 as 422 into kilojoules means 1000 joules is equal to minus N F E0. N is 2 and F is 96500 coulombs. So the value of E0 comes minus 2.186. To carry out oxidation, the potential difference of greater than 2.2 volt is required for the electrolysis. Now why greater than 2.2 volt? Because some excess potential is required to overcome some hindering reactions, such as liberation of gases, and this extra voltage required is called over voltage. Thus chlorine is obtained by electrolysis, giving out hydrogen and NaOH as byproducts. Similarly, fluorine can be extracted by electrolysis. Extraction of metals both by oxidation and reduction also occurs. For example, gold and silver involves both oxidation and reduction. This is done by leaching of metals present in the ore with the help of cyanide ions. So silver reacts with cyanide ions in presence of oxygen and water to form a soluble complex, and this soluble complex is then used for obtaining metals by reduction or displacement method, where a more electropositive zinc is made to react with this soluble complex. Zinc displaces silver in its salt, so silver comes out, and similarly gold can also be extracted. This process is called hydrometallurgy. The process of extraction of metals by dissolving the ore in a suitable chemical reagent, followed by precipitation or displacement of the metal by a more reactive or electropositive metal, is called hydrometallurgy. The next step of metallurgy is refining of metals. After obtaining crude metals, the impurities present in them are removed. This process is called refining. Different methods of refining are distillation. This is used to refine zinc and mercury metals. Impure metal is heated in an iron retort and the vapors are condensed in a separate receiver. So the pure metal distills over and is collected as distillate, whereas non-volatile impurities are left at the site where the metal was heated. Second method is liquation. In this, the metals like tin, lead and bismuth are purified. They have low melting points than the impurities. So in a reverberatory furnace, in a sloping hearth, the impure metal is put on a shelf, and when heated, only the metal melts and flows down, whereas the impurities are left behind. The impurities are called dross. This reaction is carried out in an inert atmosphere of carbon monoxide, and the heating is done gently. Next method is electro refining. So in case of electro refining, the impure metal is made the anode, whereas the pure metal, a thin strip of pure metal, is made the cathode. The salt of the metal is taken, and when current is passed, the metal ions from the solution get reduced at the cathode. They take up electrons and get deposited on the cathode. At the same time, the metal from the anode comes into the solution on the passage of current. So with the passage of time, slowly and slowly, pure metal is deposited at the cathode. The impurities present in the anode come out in the form of a heap below the anode. This is called anode mud. It contains metals like antimony, selenium, tellurium, silver, gold and platinum. The recovery of these precious metals can bear the cost of the refining of metal. For example, for copper, we get these precious metals. Next method of refining is zone refining. It is done to obtain a very pure silicon, germanium, boron, gallium, indium or germanium. The principle is that impurities are more soluble in the melt than in the solid state of metal. So this is a rod. The impure metal is taken in the form of a bar, and a circular heater is moved over it. So it's moved from one portion to the other. The metal melts out and gets recrystallized, but the impurities move along the molten melt and pure metal is crystallized. This process is repeated again and again so that the bar gets converted into two zones, one of pure metal and other of impure metal, and this is broken from this here, and so pure metal of high purity is obtained. This was the fourth method of refining, which is known as zone refining. Next method is vapor phase refining. This method is based on the fact that metals are converted to their volatile compounds while the impurities are not affected during the compound formation. So compound formed then decomposes on heating to give pure metal. For example, if a metal like nickel is heated at this point, when it will combine with carbon monoxide at this temperature, 330 to 350 Kelvin, it will form volatile tetracarbonyl nickel, which flows over. And then at some other spot, it's again heated to a higher temperature, and the vapors again break down into solid nickel and carbon monoxide escapes. So this impurities are left at the site of heating, whereas the pure metal is obtained at another site. This process is called Bond's process because metal is first converted to vapor, so this is called vapor phase refining. Van Arkel method is similar to vapor phase refining. In this case, crude zirconium or titanium can be purified. So for example, crude zirconium is heated in an evacuated vessel with iodine at 870 Kelvin. A covalent volatile zirconium tetraiodide is formed, which is then heated at a high temperature of 2075 Kelvin on a tungsten filament, where it breaks down into pure zirconium. Similarly, titanium is converted to titanium tetraiodide, and then broken down at higher temperature into pure titanium. Another method is chromatographic method, a more modern method. It's based on the principle that different components of mixture are differently adsorbed on an adsorbent. The stationary phase may be a solid, and the mobile phase may be a liquid or a gas. For example, in column chromatography, the adsorbent is alumina and it is packed in a glass column. The mixture to be separated is mixed in a suitable solvent and applied on the top of the column. Because different components of the mixture, they are adsorbed to a different extent, so they form different bands in the column after some time. Then a suitable solvent known as eluent is again passed from the top, which brings down the bands at different speeds. So the component which is adsorbed strongly remains at the top, whereas the component which is most weakly adsorbed can be collected first. This process of taking out adsorbed component from the mixture with the help of a solvent is called elution, and the solvent is called eluent. The eluent acts as the mobile phase. So different components of the mixture are collected in different conical flasks as separate fractions. First C will be obtained, then B, then A. So this is how chromatography is carried out. Refining can be done by this method. That's all in today's video. Thank you. Have a nice day.